All right, this is part 5 of Lewis's IBJJF silver medal run at Pans, which means unfortunately this one's a loss. So let's analyze how that happened. Lewis looks to pull right away with mercy grips, but then chooses to get back up right away. And I think he chose to do this because they were being very strict on the guard pulls, and it looks for a second like his opponent maybe touched Lewis's leg on his way down. So I can understand getting up to prevent the 2 points from coming in. But as soon as they get back up, his opponent threatens a knee tap and is actually able to get Lewis down for a second, but Lewis pops right back up and his opponent pushes him out of bounds, forcing the ref to reset them. And Lewis isn't beating the allegations on that reset, but anyways, they hand fight for a couple seconds and Lewis looks to pull again, but his opponent drops straight into his legs. And here's where I think the first big tactical mistake happened, which is even though Lewis pulled correctly, I can understand why he got up because, you know, maybe he pulled his opponent into 2 points. But even if he had pulled his opponent into 2 points, it's very risky to try and get up with back exposure when they're so deep on you. And at that point, I think you're just better off accepting that your opponent's going to get 2 points on you and trying to work back from there from a good guard position. And this is what I'm talking about because as soon as Lewis gets up, his opponent mad returns him and almost puts hooks on him. Luckily, Lewis is able to prevent this, and it looks like he wants to stand up again, but then reconsiders and chooses to roll through instead, getting back to a guard position. And now Lewis minimally hand fights, but he almost goes for that same half guard gambit we've been talking about this whole time, where he allows his opponent to put him supine and enter his half guard in order to create connection. And this strategy looks like it's going to work well because he's immediately able to threaten a Troy bar, but his opponent is able to posture out of it, unfortunately. But luckily, his opponent is still willing to engage in jiu-jitsu and tries to pressure forward on Lewis. And Lewis basically repeats the same strategy where he just retains for a little bit and then lets his opponent settle into half guard and looks to attack again. And this time he's able to get a lot deeper. He stuffs his opponent's head and gets a very deep underhook on the far arm. And then he starts throwing his leg over, looking for either potentially a Choi bar again or looking to spin over the top into a triangle. He ends up going for the armbar. He actually gets a really strong preload juji, and I think he could have broken his opponent if he just hipped in from here. But he was way too nice, and his opponent is able to slip his elbow and get out. And this is very unfortunate because a lot of times in a match, especially when your opponent is up, you only really have one opportunity to get back at them, and I think this was Lewis's opportunity. Um, and unfortunately, he was a little too nice with the armbar, like I said, and his opponent is now gonna get out and just run away the whole time. And yeah, the rest of the match is kind of like what you see right here. His opponent circling and attacking, but as soon as Lewis recovers, his opponent just runs away. And I think at this point, especially when your opponent is up, I think it's very important to be aggressive. And that's one thing that Lewis could have done better is really force his opponent to engage into the jiu-jitsu match with him because you saw whenever Lewis actually did jiu-jitsu against the guy, then he was better. But whenever the guy was kind of running around, Lewis was maybe a little bit too passive, and that's why he wasn't able to get what he wanted to get going. And here's the best example of Lewis being passive. I mean, his opponent grabs his leg, and Lewis just kind of starts leg pummeling, like no urgency whatsoever to grip fight or anything. He's kind of, it's almost like he's content with having a good jiu-jitsu performance, but that little extra of, oh, I gotta win is like maybe missing in this match. And 20 seconds left, and here is the last part where it's like a tactical mistake on Lewis's part because he's finally able to get a good connection with his opponent and enter a Nashigarami. But instead of looking for X guard or wrestling up or just like, doing anything you can to score, he kind of looks to enter out Sarashi, which might be the correct jiu-jitsu thing to do, but it's not the correct competition thing to do. Like at this point in competition, all you have to do is you gotta get up, and sometimes it's not pretty, it's not super technical, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do to win. But I mean, none of this is meant to be a criticism because at the end of the day, this is such an incredible performance, especially because it's the first IBJJF he went out to compete in. And I mean, the only reason I have anything to say about this is because I think that if Lewis was on a good day or like if he just did what he does in the gym, he would have submitted everybody. And like he realistically would have gone out there and absolutely demolished everybody and maybe because it was his first competition, he wasn't able to do this. But even at his worst, Lewis got a silver medal, and that's just an incredible achievement, and I'm so proud of him. And like, he's you gotta watch out for this guy because he's gonna kill it. And yeah, that's all for me.